Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. With Dragons of Tarkir just coming out, I decided I wanted to look at some of the cards that could be interesting in Modern from that set, and just put a spotlight on some of those cards. And the first one I wanted to look at was Myth Realized, which is a powerful enchantment and a potential control finisher coming out of the set. And just highlight that. So here it is. 1 mana enchantment, basically becomes a very big creature and powers up off non-creature spells. So I'm going to try it out initially in a blue-white control deck. Obviously there's potentially a lot of different ways you could build around the card, but this is the way that I initially thought of, and I think it's possibly one of the better shells for the card. So this is our current deck, basically a fairly standard blue-white control build. You've got Path to Exile, you've got Snapcasters, you've got some creatures, we've got some Snapcasters, Wall of Omens and Restoration Angel. Got a couple of Planeswalkers in here as well. I've got Gideon and Jace. Might be overkill on the finishes there. I think I would probably slightly tweak the deck, having played it a little bit more. But yeah, then you've got your counters, Mana Leak, Spell Snare, Think Twice, which works really nice with Myth Realized as it's a way to power it up, and just a good draw spell in general. Cryptic, which is always amazing, just a very powerful card. Got some extra removal and Dismember and Detention Sphere. Got Verdicts as a board sweep against decks that go wide, and then we've got Sphinx's Rev, which is just a really powerful late game card, and this deck is definitely a late game kind of deck. So let's go and play some games. I think we starting with this one. This playing against the Wizard of the Coast employee. Who is playing sort of Death Shadow Suicide aggro kind of deck, which is quite interesting. Seen a few lists going around, and would like to try this one out. But well, anyway, you'll see his deck as the game progresses anyway. So he leads off with a Gitaxian Probe, which manages to reduce his life total, and plays the Wooded Foothills. He's going to lead off with Colonnade, nothing else we can really do, so might as well play the comes into play tap land. Gets an Overgrown Tomb, Gitaxian Probes, Bloodstained Mires, Collection of Blood Crypt, all the time taking as much damage as possible from his pain lands, etc. And he's going to drop a Death Shadow that could get a lot bigger. I'm going to play Wall of Omens as just a sort of blocker for that, get in the way. Not a lot else we can do at the moment, so I figure just putting a roadblock in the way is probably going to be good. Opponent cracks another fetch, gets another pain jewel, and it's going to go down to 7. Makes his guy 6/6. Knowing this deck, I know he's got things like things that give double strike, etc., and other pumps and potentially become immense. So I wasn't too happy with not blocking here, so decided to go for the block. And opponent doesn't respond to that, so didn't quite die there. Opponent attacks again. I don't have a whole lot I can do, so I just decided to take the damage and see what he wants to do, see if he can actually kill me. Turns out he can't, or rather didn't want to try on that occasion, so it's fine. And obviously we have Mana Leak up there, so that was good. We draw Cryptic, which is definitely really good for us. I think I'm just going to use it here to tap down his guy, hopefully buy some more time. Cryptic and Sphinx's Rev off the top as well, so that's quite nice. If we can sort of wind out the game a little bit longer, hopefully we'll be able to put ourselves in a good situation just to sort of draw out the game. I'm looking for a Supreme Verdict or a Path to Exile, ideally, but I decided not to Cryptic here. Can't entirely remember my thinking on that. But yeah, he attacks for 9, puts us down to 4. Sphinx's Rev 2 now, just to try and find an answer to these guys. I think Supreme Verdict actually in particular is what I was looking for. I think that's the reason I didn't attack it. I didn't use Cryptic there as well. I was just looking to Sphinx's Rev up. So opponent's on 4. I've got Myth Realized, which I'm just going to run out. I can Cryptic. 2 more Cryptics, so we can tap down his guys. Soon we'll be able to Snapcast the Cryptic as well, so we can just keep tapping down his guys. And we're trying to refer. Actually drawn all our Cryptics, which is really good. We're just going to be able to tap down his guys, sort of fairly indefinitely, and we only actually need to attack for 4 to kill our opponent off. So I'm going to put a law counter on the Myth Realized at the end of the turn. Meant to attack there actually, but I think we misclicked through our attack step. But I'm going to use the Supreme Verdict to wipe our opponent's board. Pretty dead. So yeah, just going to attack with our 4/4 Myth Realized. I think he has an answer. Yeah, he has a Slaughter Pact to kill that off, which is fine. I could have fought over it, but it's not particularly necessary. I think I'm just going to drop. Oh no, I'm going to drop a Snapcaster. Could have dropped the Resto. No, I'm going to Snapcaster Sphinx's Rev. Goes back up to 8. Tap for 2. Our opponent just kills himself essentially. Just showing us the rest of his hand. So yeah, we were well under their control. See, drawing a lot of Cryptics helped. I actually drew all 4 in that game. Cryptic obviously pretty amazing. Yeah, Supreme Verdict not too bad either, as just a way to sort of answer all their guys in an uncounterable kind of way. So yeah, obviously we want to bring in more removal from the sideboard into game 2, as really they are sort of all in on 1 or 2 creatures, and we've got Path and Dismember, which are good for those, and obviously some counter spells as well to prevent him either pumping or just getting those creatures off the board ideally. So let's go into game 2, see if we can repeat the same thing again. So this hand looks fairly good. We are on the draw this time, so mana aren't quite as exciting, but I'm hoping this will work. We've got Dismember as well, and Detention Sphere is also potentially pretty good as a way of removing one of his creatures, or multiple if he decides to place several. He's off with a Blood Crypt, plays a Niv Magus Elemental, and then bizarrely uses Mutagenic Growth straight off the bat for no particular reason. Makes it a 3/4. It would make sense if he was playing red and he had Bolt. If I was playing red and I had Bolt, but I think he can be fairly sure that I'm not playing red and I don't have Lightning Bolt. So that play didn't make a lot of sense, and as it turns out, we doesn't have any other free spells to play, so I can just Dismember that and feel pretty happy about how things are going. We'll play Goblin Guy, which reveals a Snapcaster if I remember rightly. Yep. We get a Snapcaster off the we see a Snapcaster off the Goblin Guide, which is what we're going to draw into. Probe finds the Foothills, casts Rancor on his Goblin Guide, which I just don't feel like is particularly worth mana leaking. I'm just going to try and drop this. It's possible he has an answer to that, but I think it was worth the risk given we and we could potentially Detention Sphere next turn if it did happen to go wrong. And yeah, our opponent concedes. He obviously ran out of gas and or creatures, and had that run wrapped up fairly easily. Seems like a really good matchup for us. We've got lots of good removal. Cryptic is particularly good, as you can just tap down their guys, etc. And obviously it's not too hard to hit them back, given that they basically suicide their own life total. So yeah, I feel fairly good about this matchup. They don't have a ton of ways to protect their guys. We've got quite a lot of removal and counter spells, etc. And a few roadblocks as well. So yeah, seems like a good matchup for this deck, and thought this went pretty well. We actually saw Mythrealized beat an opponent, so seems like a good test of the deck. So that's why I wanted to show you this matchup.